So let us try to understand this action. So all our action, Krishna says, Prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasa ahankara vimudatma kartamaham iti manyate. Many times I think that I am the doer, but in actuality Krishna is saying the three modes of material nature, they perform action. Okay, we are simply an instrument. We can be instrument of Maya or we can be instrument of Krishna. So when three modes of material nature takes over this body, so I do things that is not under my control. But we have to recognize how modes influence different actions. Mode of goodness means work of maintenance. Imagine mother taking care of a child. You build an institute like IIT, right? It's easy to build an IIT, but to maintain it, to sustain it, that requires mode of goodness, right? You can build a nation, but to run the nation, to sustain the nation, to nourish the nation requires mode of goodness. So mode of goodness means maintaining, sustaining. Whereas mode of passion is to create. Any creation is an act of passion, whereas anything that is destruction is an act of mode of ignorance, right? So we build an institute, we procreate, we earn money for creation. So creation has variegated level, right? You build a house, right? That's a mode of passion activity. You build a bungalow, mode of passion activity. You build a super bazaar, supermarket, passionate activity, right? You set up a city, passionate activity. But if you build a temple, that is mode of goodness, beyond mode of goodness. Those things I will talk a little later. And mode of ignorance, mostly for destruction, right? There is a war, mode of destruction, mode of ignorance. There is a fight, quarrel among each other. So mode of ignorance. Anything self-destructive is mode of ignorance. Similarly, there are four classes in the society. The intellectual class predominantly acts in mode of goodness. The administrative class is predominantly situated in mode of passion. The business class is situated in mixed mode of passion and ignorance. The labor class or service provider is situated primarily in mode of ignorance. They earn money by hard labor and waste it in a drinking and smoking. So there are four classes of society based on three modes. No society will be freed from these four classes: intellectual class, administrative class, business class, and service provider or labor class. So normally the labor class mostly influenced by mode of ignorance. So hence you will see them mostly in Vedic culture. They are more addicted to wine and likes. Whereas the Brahminical or intellectual class, they're in mode of goodness, they give guidance to the society, right? And in between, administrators and business class, they are mode of goodness and passion, or mode of passion and mode of ignorance, mixed mode. So three modes and different species of life. Just like we saw among the human species, there are different classes because of three modes. Similarly, we will now correlate these three modes to different species that are there around us. We have plant kingdom, aquatic kingdom, insect and reptile kingdom, bird kingdom, animal kingdom, human kingdom. So there is a hierarchy. From one body, you go to another body, and finally from animal kingdom, soul gets transmigrated to human body. Cow is primarily situated in mode of goodness. So upon giving up its body, it gets a human body in the intellectual class. Lion is situated primarily in the mode of passion. So upon giving up this body, it gets a human body among administrative class. An elephant is situated in a mixed mode of passion and ignorance. So upon giving up this body, it gets a human body among business class. A monkey is primarily situated in mode of ignorance, so it gets a human body among labor class. So this is just, this is not definitive. This is just a direction, and nobody can exactly tell from which form one gets a human form. I can get a human form from my previous human form, and I can also get a human form from my previous, lower form. So this uh, we have to recognize plants, aquatics are primarily in mode of ignorance. Okay, whereas the animals like tigers and lions, mode of passion, and if you see the cow, mostly in mode of goodness. So there are also among species there are mode of goodness, mode of passion, and um, mode of ignorance. So that's why cow is very much a part of Vedic culture, because by protecting cows, we promulgate or we promote mode of goodness. Cow sustains us through cow manure, like the cow dung and urine. They're very much useful for krishi. Cow milk is the most nutritious food that we can obtain from the nature, and cow products are most useful in making medicinal products. Experiments by one researcher, Masaru Emoto, he did an experiment with water and showed that water molecular compositions, they change based on which mode you are subjecting that water to. This is a Japanese scientist performed an experiment in which he took water crystals. He subjected this water crystal to different modes of material nature. He does not know what these three modes are, but we can get insight from it. First, he exposed the water to contrasting music and observed the shape of water crystal. And you can see in the picture that the same water crystal, when exposed to slow music, that is soft music, mode of goodness, has a nice structure, and in heavy metal music, which is mode of passion, the structure is very ugly. Similarly, he took the water from Fujiwara Dam. He observed the structure of the water crystal before and after offering a prayer. So when you offer a prayer, you are subjecting the water to mode of goodness, and when not offered, so this is water as it is brought from the dam. And you can see that when he offered prayer, the water crystals has a very beautiful aesthetic form, whereas when it was directly brought from the dam, because there is a constant collision and the water structure has a different, it's not so beautiful. Earlier it was very violent, but after offering the prayer, same water structure changed immediately. So if we constantly remain in mode of goodness, a great transformation will take place for sure. Similarly, he created many different situations, observed their effect on the shape of water crystal. He subjected water to different emotions and so on, and he concluded that water crystals also react to different modes. And it's true for everything, right? Food, if your consciousness is mode of passion, the food also, when you are cooking the food, and the food will have similar effect. And if you cook the food in mode of goodness, that food will have another effect. If you cook the food in mode of ignorance, that food will have another effect. So, three modes and the conditioned soul. So, as the water reacts to three modes, similarly, all living beings in this material world are conditioned by three modes. Like if you are bound by rope, you cannot work properly. Similarly, these three modes have bound the soul. Soul is encased by these three ropes. One rope is mode of goodness, one rope is mode of passion, the third rope is mode of ignorance. Soul comes in contact with a particular mode of material nature and acts accordingly, being conditioned. If you associate with a drunkard, immediately you will behave like a drunkard. If you associate with a saintly person, you will behave like a saintly person. So this is, you must very well know this, right? In India, we say A person is known by his company, right? So if you're associating always with satsanga, you are hearing from sadhus, you will be a different person. But if you are hearing from drunkards, from atheists, from others, you will have a different character, different trait. We seek happiness on the material platform according to the modes we are conditioned by, and we are forced to act helplessly according to the impulses born of the modes of nature. You see, it is not that somebody is born as a rapist. No, he associated with that kind of modes, and hence, at some point of time, he became a puppet of the mode to be convicted as a rapist. And then his whole life is spoiled after that. Okay? Everybody says, I have a free will, but the fact is that the moment we exercise our free will to be in Maya, all our actions are guided by three modes of material nature. That means we are not acting, but all our actions are guided by the modes. By surrendering to Maya, the way we put ourselves in different situations, that situation decides for us all that we are having or all that is happening to us. If you are addicted to a computer games, then computer game, not you, will decide when you will go to bed. But if you become Krishna conscious, then you will derive ability. When you use your free will to surrender to Krishna, your actions are guided by sadhu, guru, and shastra, scriptures. Then you will see your free will, right? So, as an individual, this body is my coat. The soul is sleeping. This coat is subjected to mode of ignorance or mode of passion through association. It's Sangha. It's a Sangha that creates the mode within us, right? And because of that, actions are happening in this body. Not that soul is causing those actions. Actions are happening because of three modes. And when three modes has taken over us, the soul becomes a helpless passenger in this body like chariot. Whereas when I surrender to Krishna, then what happens? I transcend these three modes. The three modes don't affect me. And what happens? Nah, I become an instrument of Krishna. Krishna, as the super soul, constantly guides me what is good for me, what is wrong for me. He engages me in services that will benefit the world, that will be pleasing to him, pleasing to Krishna. Okay? So thank you very much for listening. Please join us with your questions in our YouTube channel as well as Facebook page. Next video, I will talk how we can be liberated from the bondage of three modes of material nature. Okay? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, any questions? So shall I ask you one question? If you people are listening. Brahmana is in which mode?
Mode of goodness.
Goodness.
And then Kshatriya, and then Kshatriya?
Passion.
Mixed passion and ignorance.
Goodness and passion. Okay.
Goodness.
Kshatriya is in goodness and passion. And then Vaishya. Vaishya in?
Ignorance.
Businessman in passion and ignorance. Okay. You have to memorize this. Okay. Passion and ignorance. Okay. And then Kshatriya. Kshatriya is in?
Goodness and passion.
Kshatriya, yeah. Shudra in?
Ignorance.
Ignorance, complete ignorance. But actually we see, Ilapusham Prabhu also says in our Bhagavad Gita lectures that he has seen most of the time Shudras and the labor class people are mostly in mode of goodness. Because they are only the happy people you can see in the world. So, but as per Shastras, because although they are happy, but they can't be said as in goodness because they are not so clean. It is about the cleanliness and everything. So otherwise they are in ignorance as per Shastras. But most of the times we see that lower class people, they are the content and very happy, very nice people. But this is the other way around. So Shudras are always in ignorance. So that's why it is said in the, like in Kali Yuga, most of us, although we have taken birth in Brahmana, then also we are Shudras. Kali Shudra Sambhavate, Sanjayate. So uh, so currently nobody is in this modes. This is called Daivi Varnashrama system. So ISKCON is towards establishing Daivi Varnashrama system, where we know our actual nature and we act accordingly to serve Krishna. So this is called Daivi Varnashrama system, which is ordained by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita Chaturvarnam Maya Shrishta in the 4th chapter, Guna Karma Vibhagayo. Tasya Kartaram Aptimam Vidya Kartaram Avyam. So these are the actual Varnashramas where they are situated. Brahmana is complete in mode of goodness. It should be good in goodness. But we see nowadays even initiated Brahmanas are not like that. Then Vaishya and Shudra. Vaishya should be in goodness and passion. Shudra should be in passion and ignorance. And Kshatriya. Like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Like 2, 2, 2, 2 divided. Goodness, passion, ignorance, and ignorance, like that. And for creation, you need which mode? If you want to create something, then
Goodness.
Goodness.
passion. Okay, in passion, you can create, like I am passionate about something, right? Creating. And maintenance?
Goodness.
Goodness.
And
So that's why Lord Vishnu is the main god for the maintenance out of the three devatas, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. And the destruction, ignorance, right?
yeah.
So Lord Brahma is the presiding deity for creation. So he is in passion always. So these are the three. They are devatas in of material world. Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. They are not actually the spiritual, like they are, although they are from Krishna only, but they are meant for the material world. That's why they are having these three gunas. Or they are the presiding deities to give us these three gunas, and they themselves they remain in such kind of gunas. So although Shiva is never in ignorance, but he is the shelter for the people who are ignorant. So he gives the shelter to Bhut Pishach, like ghost and hobgoblins, such kind of people. So they are very merciful. Yes, and then we saw the water crystals. They also react for different modes of material nature. And the person in the material world, he gave some analogy, like what we are, like we are bound with something, right? So he gave the analogy of the rope, right? So if you are bound with a rope and another person is also bound with the same rope, then he can't deliver us, right? He can't free us, right? But the person who is not, who is free, they can easily free us from the ropes, right? So such kind of person is the guru or the shastras. They are in pure mode of goodness. That's why we should take shelter of such kind of people. And yes, that's what we learned in this slides. Okay, so 9.3, 9.4, and that will be the last one. And then next week we will have the quiz. So these chapters look very easy, but they are a bit, you have to memorize something like the food in mode of goodness, food in mode of passion, charity in mode of passion. Now they will say about that. Ignorance, and then varnas in mode of goodness, which passion, ignorance. So the three modes of material nature acts on us. They are the actors. We say they are the actors.
भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति And we are trying to understand Prakriti in terms of three modes of material nature. There are so many ways we can understand the Prakriti, but we are only focusing on three modes of material nature. I talked about how this Prakriti, three modes of material nature, causes to manifest 8.4 million different species. We also talked about how these three modes within a human body causes different actions, different state, and also the composition of the society in terms of intellectuals, administrators, business class, and labor class is also ordained by the composition of these three modes. These three modes also decides the different levels of species that we have. We talked about plants, mostly in the mode of ignorance, whereas the lions in mode of passion and cow in mode of goodness. So these modes we develop, we are born with certain modes, and we can transform these modes by our association. So if we associate mostly with the mode of goodness, then we will become mode of goodness. It's like if every day I'm in a temple, I practice spiritual life, mostly I'll be in mode of goodness. Okay. So by associating with different modes, we develop certain modes within us as well. So it is important that we must know whatever modes we may be, whatever taste I may have based on my internal mode, I can transform my internal mode to mode of goodness, and beyond mode of goodness, pure goodness, the spiritual mode. It is possible simply by practicing yoga. So today we'll discuss freedom from modes of material nature. How do we become liberated? These three gunas are holding us, and that is why we are taking repeated births. The cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease is because of these three modes. As long as a tinge of any mode is there, we will take birth. And we will be freed from this birth only when we are freed from these three modes. Okay. So when we become Krishna conscious, then automatically I'm guided by sadhu, guru, and shastra. Sadhu means saintly person, guru is my teacher, and shastra means Vedic literature. It is very important that any civilization that disregards sadhu, guru, and shastra cannot flourish in a healthy manner. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in 14.26, after narrating three modes of material nature, he says, Mam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati taitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Right? Sa Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Bhakti Yogena. So Krishna is directly saying, by practicing bhakti, any yoga system you do, it will surely bring us to mode of goodness, whichever state we may be. But specifically, if we are performing bhakti yoga, then we will go beyond modes of goodness as well. That means we will become Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. We will attain the state of pure goodness, liberated platform. So those who engage themselves in bhakti yoga, that is perform devotional service to Krishna, they transcend the three modes. The real freedom is becoming free from these three modes of material nature. As long as we are subjected to three modes of material nature, we have no free will and we are prisoners. So through Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is inviting us, inspiring us to come out of that bondage by engaging in Bhakti Yoga. So as I told you, 3 modes, and as long as we are situated in any of these modes, we will take birth again and again. You perform any yoga system other than Bhakti Yoga, you will surely transcend to the goodness. But to go to pure goodness, Bhakti Yoga is must. So a Jnana Yogi must be a Bhakta, Dhyana Yogi must be a Bhakta, and Karma Yogi must be a Bhakta, finally, to become liberated. As a recurrent theme of this course, we have been emphasizing that Bhakti does not bar anyone, but gives the highest destination to any sincere practitioner, irrespective of his or her previous condition. Here too, a person situated in any mode of nature, if sincerely takes to Bhakti, can be elevated to perfection. We see that matter is captivating. Matter has imprisoned us from time immemorial. This material modes has kept us bound to birth, death, old age, and disease. And the real purpose of human life, you do not go to an animal kingdom. You don't bring all the cows together and say, please hear Krishna Katha. They will not understand what is Krishna Katha because they don't have that ability to understand divinity. Only human beings are given that ability to hear, to understand divinity. So that is why, once I have got the human form of life, I must learn how to become free from these 3 modes of material nature. Instead of getting deluded by material nature, I should always pray to Krishna and get out of this material nature. This is liberation. So let us talk about some of the stories, how varieties of seekers of truth perfected their life. Okay. So first example is that of Prachetas, the sons of King Prachina Varishat. In the age of Satyuga, there are 1,000 sons of Prachina Varishat, 1,000 sons, and they were instructed by their father to perform austerities so as to get good progeny. To carry out their father's instruction, these brothers left home to execute severe penances. While traveling, they reached a huge lake, which was serene and bedecked with the natural beauty of lotus flowers, charming birds, exquisite trees, and creepers and bumblebees. Thus these brothers were well situated in the mode of goodness, but their purpose was mundane. By good fortune, they happened to meet Lord Shiva, who was returning from lake along with his followers. The brothers offered their respect to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva knew their sincere pursuit of an austere and pious life. To elevate them further, he instructed them about Krishna Bhakti and gave them mantra to please Lord Krishna. Following Lord Shiva's instruction, the Prachetas chanted this mantra and performed austerities for 10,000 years. Being pleased with their devotion, Lord Vishnu himself came to bless them with perfection. The Prachetas ruled as great kings, and the end of their lives went back to the spiritual world. So this narration is from 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It shows how a person in a mode of goodness can be elevated to the spiritual platform with bhakti, which comes from the association of a pure devotee. So what you saw here, Prachinavari, he had many sons, 1,000 sons, and he wanted them to procreate. So to procreate, you don't have to go to jungle, right, to perform severe austerities. But in our traditional culture of Vedic values, even procreation requires austerity. This knowledge is almost lost in the present context. One must be celibate for 12 years consecutively to accept a householder position. or to get married. And then he becomes capable of bringing good quality progeny to the society. This is our Vedic standard. So Prachetas, for a mundane purpose, they went to a lake, and it was beautiful surrounding and mode of goodness. And because they selected a place of mode of goodness to perform austerity so that they can procreate, Lord Shiva, by the will of the providence, met them and initiated them into Krishna Bhakti. So by practicing Krishna Bhakti, they perfected their life. Krishna was pleased. They became kings, and they became very good kings. Right? And it is not that, when you become spiritual, you give up the responsibility of this world. No. In fact, if you become spiritual, you can responsibly take care of this world. But this particular incident says that these Prachetas who were situated in mode of goodness, by associating with the pure devotee of Krishna, because Lord Shiva is the best among all the devotees of Vishnu. Vaishnavanam yatha sambhu. So by associating with the pure devotee of Krishna, the Prachetas also became devotees and perfected their life. Now we'll go to another example. This is about Dhruva Maharaj. He's the son of King Uttanapada, who was the emperor of the entire world. Even as a child of 5 years, he had an intense desire to attain a position greater than that of his father, and even that of Brahmaji, the creator of this universe. Unable to tolerate the insulting words of his stepmother, he left his royal home and went to the forest, unafraid of the harsh living conditions and wild animals there. His intent was to get a kingdom greater than even Lord Brahma. He was extremely determined to perform austerities, but his goal was completely guided by the mode of passion. To uplift him, the great sage Narada came to him. Seeing his intense and unflinching zeal, sage Narada instructed him in bhakti. He described the beautiful form of Lord Krishna and asked Dhruva to meditate on him. He gave him the mantra to worship Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And to follow Narada's instruction, Dhruva went to Madhuvana, the holy places of pastimes of Krishna, and applied himself to process of bhakti. Pleased with his sincere practice, Lord Krishna personally appeared before Dhruva to fulfill his desire. But being purified by bhakti, Dhruva no longer cherished his mundane desires of prestige and sovereignty. He no longer withheld any feeling of resentment or envy towards anyone, including his stepmother. Dhruva now only desired to serve the Lord along with his loving devotees. The Lord blessed him with unrivaled kingdom of thousands of years, followed by eternal residence in the spiritual world. He made Dhruva the ruler of Dhruva star, the pole star, which is the spiritual planet. This is, in a way, much better position than even that of Lord Brahma. This great incident is also described in 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It shows how a person soaked in the mode of passion can be elevated to the spiritual platform by following the process of bhakti as instructed by the pure devotee. You see, Dhruva, a 5-year-old boy, is now ruling the pole star. You know that in this entire universe, all the planetary systems are rotating where around the pole star. You can ask any astronomer, he will say pole star is fixed. Its position never changes. All other planetary positions, they change. So the entire planetary system, they revolve while anchoring the pole star. And that is a spiritual planet. And Dhruva is the ruler of that spiritual planet. Even when this entire universe will be destroyed, pole star will not be destroyed. That is a spiritual planet. So here you see Dhruva went to jungle to attain a bigger kingdom than Brahmaji because he was insulted by his brother, stepbrother, by his stepmother, and by his own father, Uttanapada. And he wanted a bigger kingdom. He met Narada in Madhuban And Naraji taught him to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and gave him instruction how to perform severe austerity. When Dhruva Maharaj performed that austerity, within 6 months, Lord Vishnu was pleased and came and gave his darshan. By touching the console to his head, Lord Vishnu took away all his sin. And Dhruva now was qualified enough to see the entire opulence of the Lord. And he said, "Oh Lord, what a stupid am I? I came to beg 5 rupees to such an opulent person." That means his desire to have a bigger than universe is like a 5 paisa in front of the Krishna's opulence. But still, Lord said, "No, Dhruva, I am pleased with you. I'll give you the reward." And he made him the ruler of a spiritual kingdom. How beautiful it is. So from mode of passion, he was completely liberated and he was transcended and he got liberated and is now within a spiritual planet, in a spiritual body. Now we gave the example of mode of goodness, mode of passion. Now we'll go to an example of mode of ignorance. Finally, we would like to recollect some examples from previous chapters about persons in deep mode of ignorance achieving perfection by associating with pure devotees. We discussed the story of a prostitute who was induced by an envious ruler to defame Haridas Thakur, the great saintly devotee of Krishna. She came to seduce Haridas Thakur consecutively for many nights, for 3 nights in fact. But hearing of the pure chanting of holy name from him completely transformed her heart. Thereafter, receiving instructions from Haridas Thakur, she spent her whole life chanting the holy name of Krishna and made her life perfect. In this way, even a prostitute engrossed in the lowest modes of nature could achieve perfectness by following the process of bhakti. Okay. So this example we have given, this previous lesson, Bhakti Yoga, that how Haridas Thakur was seduced by a prostitute by the arrangement of Ramchandra Khan. But that prostitute, by hearing the pure chanting of Haridas Thakur, got transformed and got liberated and surrendered to the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur and revealed the plan of Ramchandra Khan to spoil his name. And he accepted Haridas Thakur as a spiritual master. She started chanting 64 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, started worshipping Tulsi Maharani and became a pure devotee. So this is another example. Similarly, there are many, many examples. We have also more examples in this particular lesson. Please go through them. And what we'd like to tell you is that whichever mode you may be, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, mode of goodness, doesn't matter. If you sincerely accept Krishna consciousness, that is Krishna's instructions as given in Bhagavad Gita, your life will be absolutely successful. You will become a liberated person. At the time of death, you will not be caught by death. You will be transported to the spiritual plane with a spiritual body. That is the ultimate goal of life. So what we discussed in this entire 4 videos concerning this topic on material nature, that material nature is there to make us bound to the cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. The real understanding of the material nature is not how to enjoy the material nature, but how to get out of this material nature, how to become liberated. So we have many questions, and there is a section 2 where there are Vedic personality index. And please, after hearing all these 4 videos, you answer these questions, and if you show your answers to us, we will tell you that in which mode you are situated, and we will be able to tell you, or I will personally tell you, how you can conduct your life such that you can become Krishna conscious and get liberated from the influence of three modes of material nature. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kindly chant this Maha and we will meet you again for our last lesson in this online Bhagavad Gita course on Introduction to Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so till then, Hare Krishna, see you again. Hare
Thank you, everyone. Any questions? Sorry. Any questions? Hare Krishna, Mataji.
No, nothing, Mataji. Just
Thank you so much.
busy doing other things also, so not
No,
been
that's
able to.
fine, Mataji. At least we are
wanted
attending.
to-
Nobody has time even.
Mataji, yeah, it's battling. Bas.
That's very nice, Mataji. Still you are joining. That's very good. Who is
No,
iPad?
Mataji.
Yeah, good, Mataji.
I- Thank you.
Who is iPad?
I don't know.
Okay, who is that? Dhanvir, is it?
It's me, Mataji.
Me means Daniela?
Yeah.
Angela. Hey, boy. Very nice. Okay, good. You joined. Okay, so yeah, it completes our sessions. So next week we will have our test, means our question, quiz, and ask your parents, Daniela and Angela, to join. Okay, next week in the quiz. Okay, it's for the adults, not for the quiz. But kids, for kids, we'll have on Tuesday. Okay, next Tuesday, you all can join for the quiz. Mataji, Ivan also, if he's all right, he can also attend the quiz. Quiz will be there on Tuesday, next Tuesday. So
You don't know anything, that's okay.
yeah, just instead of just sitting, he can get the certificate also. So he'll be very happy. It will be
He has to earn it.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Divya Mataji, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yes, Mataji, please attend next week quiz next week. We have a quiz next week, so please attend.
Okay.
It will be very
Okay.
nice, interesting. You will like it.
All right.
It will be informative also. And your kids are doing amazing job in the morning. Always nicely chanting, joining.
Yeah.
So nice. Both the families are very blessed actually.
Thank you.
And they have great memory, I should say.
They don't want to make a video.
Inheriting from you only, most of obviously.
Daniela don't want to make a video.
Yeah, Daniela, I understand. Yeah, but Angela is, oh wow, she's amazing. Daniela is also very nice, Mataji. At this age, I was not doing anything. My son was doing something, and
Yeah.
people are amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Very well. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mataji. Please join next
Haribol.
week. We'll have the quiz, Kahoot quiz. It will be very nice, interesting. So yeah, and for the kids, it will be on Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Next
We
one.
always join that, you know. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.